Greetings, wrestling fans, and welcome back to another All Wrestling review. I know it's been 2 weeks since my last All Wrestling review, and the biggest reason for those who seem to forget all the time what the whole point of All Wrestling review is that it's only me talking about things I am interested in. If there's ever a week of wrestling that throughout the shows I watch, and there's nothing good, interesting happens, I don't talk about those shows. So, we're going to be looking at AEW Full Gear, not the entire show, but just most of the things that I'm interested in. We'll be looking at TNA, just one match from TNA, and also WWE from their big reveals of the mid-card tournaments, and several other things. So, on WWE side of things, and I'll also be bringing up NXT as well when it comes to Iron Survivor, because there's definitely some things I want to talk about there. So, since TNA only has one thing we need to talk about, I'll talk about that first, and that is Ash by Elegance having a match with Geordie Threat, if that's actually how you say her name correctly. And Ash by Elegance ended up winning that matchup against her. It's kind of bizarre that they're having her feud with the Knockouts Tag Team Champions, and they had her beat both of the champions, but yet her partner, Heather Reckless, didn't get a win. So I'm assuming they're going to do what's her name? Danny Luna, that's her name. Fun fact, I realized she's the one from Danny Luna was the one from NXT UK, the one that was with Mark Andrews. I might have mentioned that the last time as well, but just a quick reminder for those that did forget. But, yeah, so I'm assuming they'll probably do Danny Luna versus Heather Reckless, and probably Heather will end up losing that. So, that 50-50 booking is not exactly my cup of tea, if I'm being honest. But hey, hey, you know, TNA is TNA now, because, you know, they now work under WWE due to their big partnership. So when it comes to NXT, they got the Iron Survivor ongoing. They had Stephanie Vaquilla, or Vaquilla is how they actually say it, because she's Chile, because she's from Chile. She ended up qualifying. They also had Zarya qualify by killing Ren Sinclair. And now they had Julia advance by beating Kalani Jordan. Lola Vice had her match with Ren Sinclair was decent. You know, I've talked about this, I may have not talked about this before, but I am not a fan of Ren Sinclair as a heel. Like, this heel turn, her heel turn has not benefited her at all. Like, she was losing matches as a babyface, and she's losing matches now as a heel. It really hasn't changed anything about Ren's career. The one big major criticism I have for NXT is them ending Chase University. I mean, really? You're gonna keep a group like No Quarter Catch Crew around, but you're gonna get rid of Chase U, who is arguably a really super popular faction? You're gonna keep a lame faction that gets no reactions, but get rid of a faction that does get reactions. I don't get that logic. I don't get that logic at all, and it also sucks that Chase University didn't get their revenge on Ridge Holland. Ridge Holland just keeps beating them in matches. I was just not a fan of it. It told me Shawn Michaels didn't care about Chase U anymore, and he just flat out had Ridge Holland just bury the faction. Not a fan. Just not a fan. And now with Chase University disbanded, I now fear for all four superstars. I fear for Andre, I fear for Duke Hudson, I fear for Riley, and I fear for Thea. All four of their careers benefited from Chase University. What are you going to have them do now, now that Chase U's over. Like, you better have something. Like, they weren't even on NXT this week, and it shows you that Shawn Michaels, I hope he better have plans for them soon, because the more they're off TV after Chase U's suspension, clearly tells me he had no plans for them after their suspension. See, I can't tell you I'm a fan of that. Also, I really do not like when the GMs give the losers of the qualifying matches second chances. I flat out hate second chances. I hate it when NXT do it. I hate it when they do it for the main roster when people fail to qualify for the Money in the Bank. I've always hated second chance matches. And listen, I love Cora Jade, who is getting a second chance, but I'm sorry, she lost. She shouldn't be getting another chance. Like, all the people that failed to qualify should not be getting another chance. They shouldn't be. They really shouldn't be getting another chance, and I don't like that. I just do not like that at all. It's just something I've never been a big fan of. Also, they had Fallon Henley in the main event defeat Tatum Paxley to retain her North American title belt. I swear, Paxley never wins anything. Like, Tatum Paxley is definitely one of the girls I really like in NXT, and it's sad. It's sad she never wins anything. Like, I barely ever see this girl win at all. And the fact that she has more losses next to her name than wins, and the fact that she was given a title match really tells you that wins and losses don't matter. Yes, wins and losses have always never mattered. But, again, she barely ever wins anything. And, conveniently, Gigi Dolan returns, and now she's feuding with JC Jane. Go figure. She's now back feuding with her former best friend. That seems to be the only thing they can have Gigi do. And yes, she was injured. And yes, she suffered an injury. But I find it coincidence that the first person they have her feud with when she comes back is JC Jane. I would like Gigi to dethrone Fallon and become the champion, but I highly doubt that. And the other thing I don't like about the Women's Iron Survivor is that it's all baby faces. Like, there's no heels. That is why I got extremely mad when Cora lost to Sol Ruka. But since WWE likes handing out second chances, you could have had Sol Ruka win the second chance. So yeah, NXT, though it was fun with certain matches, though I thought their matches were enjoyable, NXT just does things that just does several things I'm not a big fan of. And that's fine. It's fine to criticize things that you like. Monday Night Raw introduced a women's IC belt. I'm not going to talk about it very much because, again, I upset a few people over my opinion over it. But you know what? I don't care. It's my opinion, and I will stand by it, no matter what people tell me. And also, you can disagree with me all you want, but don't come at me telling me that I hate something when I clearly love the thing that I'm talking about. If you're going to come to my channel, I expect nothing but respect. If you're not going to do that, I don't want you here. I'm just going to flat out tell you that. The women's IC belt, not for me. It's not for me. Not enough women on their rosters to pull it off. And on the SmackDown side, you have the women's US belt. They had Chelsea Green, of all people, win her match to move on, which again, I'm not shocked by. Yes, I know I said Bianca Belair is most likely going to win, but I ultimately also said if they are going to go with a second option that isn't Bianca Belair, they would go with Chelsea Green. And generally, I don't care what the fans want. I don't care if people want Chelsea to win. I don't care who wins as long as it ain't Chelsea. In my personal opinion. And then on the men's side of things, we had the big War Games reveal of CM Punk, Paul Heyman returning. CM Punk is the 5th member of Roman's team at War Games. You know, I only brought this up because I felt like it needed to be talked about, so that's why I'm talking about it here. Cool, nice to see Punk back, coming back from his 1-year anniversary for his return, but I generally don't really care. I just want this whole feud to be over and done with, but I know for a fact it's not going to be over and done with, because the Bloodline arc never ends. There is no ending to the Bloodline story. Now let's talk about AEW Full Gear. I'm not going to talk about Dynamite, and I'm just not going to talk about Dynamite because there's no point. So, all I know from Dynamite is Mercedes and Camille have broken up. They're not together anymore. And the Continental Classic has started. Claudio beat Ricochet. MVP and his group, the Hurt Syndicate, which is just the Hurt Business with a different name, cut a promo, and all that stuff. I didn't really pay too much attention to it, but I did see some of the stuff they had on there. But Full Gear is what I'm going to be talking about because I had the time to actually watch some of the matches. I watched Mercedes' match with Chris Statlander, which was a great match. I think Mercedes definitely this was easily Mercedes' best match, and easily her toughest challenge throughout the reign. Yes, she faced Shida. Yes, she faced Britt Baker. But listen, no shade towards these women, but Mercedes' matches with them were not exactly great. Because again, fans, fans being fans, will always want to, think Mercedes has a few bad matches and that all of a sudden exposes her. She's now exposed. No, she's not exposed. Every great wrestler has their bad matches. Every great wrestler has a bad match. You can't just say a one bad match exposes someone. If that's the case, then Roman should be exposed for every bad match he's had, and Seth Rollins would be exposed for every bad match he's had. Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, and Bayley would all be exposed. Please. Just because Mercedes had a few bad matches does not mean she's exposed. This match with Chris Statlander was much better. This match with Chris Statlander was much better than her matches with Britt and Shida because she had good chemistry. A lot of high spots and also a lot of drama. Chris Statlander became the first woman to kick out of the Moneymaker. Usually whenever that happens, you ultimately think the champion is losing their belts. But Mercedes was able to manage to beat Chris Statlander and retain. And now that means Mercedes will now be feuding with her former bodyguard, Camille. So, I guess we'll see how that goes. And in my opinion, the best match on that show for me was Kyle Fletcher versus Will Ospreay. This match was fantastic. This match was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. Kyle Fletcher is a star. I love his theme. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie! I love his theme. The Proto Star is his nickname. I love it. He's so great. He's fantastic. 25 years old, and he's going to be a major player. He is going to be a star. And I also got to give Will Ospreay all the credit for putting him over. Will Ospreay, I have heard of. I have heard of Will Ospreay, and I've heard nothing but good things about Ospreay. And Will Ospreay, man, he's amazing. The aerial assassin, Will Ospreay, he's amazing. He's incredible. He's a friggin' amazing wrestler. And the highlight of the match for me was when Kyle Fletcher delivered a tombstone pile driver on Ospreay off the apron onto steel steps. That part made me cringe. I was like, ooh! That part made me cringe. That was by far the most insane spots I have seen. It was definitely brutal. It was a brutal match. Kyle Fletcher won with a brainbuster off the top rope. You know the one that Sami Zayn did to Gunther? Yeah, it was very similar to that one. Kyle Fletcher would do a brainbuster off the top rope. Ospreay would fall to the floor. Kyle would cover him to get the 3. Man, it was a hell of a match. It was a fantastic match. I recommend you go watch this match. It was amazing. It was just amazing. It was great. And that's really all I can really say about AEW. I know Moxley retained his gold against Orange Cassidy, I suppose. But, and also one other thing I guess I should mention from Full Gear was that Mina Shirakawa and Mariah May had a segment. And, you know, I don't want to be that guy that is like, oh, I told you so, it was very predictable. But when I saw this segment, when AEW, when the graphic came up, because AEW has their little graphic reveal on what's on the card. When I saw Mina Shirakawa and Mariah May were hosting a celebration, I immediately said to myself, yeah, I'm not going to be surprised if this leads to Mariah May turning on Mina Shirakawa, and that is exactly what happened. After they were celebrating, Mariah would attempt to hit Mina with a glass of wine, with a wine bottle, tried to crack her in the head with it. Mina saw it coming, and then Mina would grab Mariah May and spear her off the stage, and they would crash through a table on the outside, and now they're going to kickstart a rivalry. You just cannot trust Mariah May. Tony Storm learned that the hard way. Mariah May is she's just a great heel. She's just a great heel, and Mina Shirakawa is just so damn likable. I'm really looking forward to Mariah May and Mina Shirakawa to eventually have their match. I'm definitely looking forward to that. And that is all I am going to talk about in this All Wrestling review, guys. I know I was a few weeks off and all that. I was weeks behind. But again, if there's nothing worth talking about on those shows, I'm not going to talk about it. And one final thing from Full Gear, I guess I should mention real quick, is Anna Jay was able to defeat Deonna Purrazzo. That was also really good as well. So, I'm glad Anna Jay is getting some wins after her feud with Mariah May. So that concludes this All Wrestling review, guys. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.